Hello everybody, Dinotopia here. Welcome to the episode of Doses the Movie Reviews. What can you say about James Gurney's popular book series, Dinotopia? It's about an island called Dinotopia, which is the same name as the series, which is inhabited by a population of shipwrecked people and highly intelligent dinosaurs who live together. As its popularity grew with the release of the first book, it would lead to the next books in the series, and Gurney even added newly discovered dinosaurs at the time. There were even plans to make a film adaptation of the books by both Columbia and Disney, but they dropped the idea. However, in the early 2000 decade, Walt Disney Television along with Hallmark would go on to make a three-part miniseries for television based on the series, and it's what I'm reviewing this week. So, released to ABC on May 12th to 14th of 2002, the miniseries is Dinotopia. Now, before I start, I would just like to say that despite that this is a mini-series, I will be reviewing it as though it's a feature film. Now, on with the review. The mini-series begins with a woman writing a letter to her future daughter.
By the time you read this, you will no doubt have grown into a confident and beautiful young woman. Your journey will not be an easy one. You will be expected to show courage and face many challenges which may threaten to destroy our world. But you are not alone, Marion, and help will come in unexpected ways and from unfamiliar faces. And as the darkness descends around Dinotopia, never allow it to overwhelm you. Instead, follow your heart and prepare to fulfill your destiny as matriarch. Find the light.
We then come to two half-brothers named Carl and David Scott, played by Wentworth Miller and Tyrone Lightso, respectively, with their father, Frank, played by Stuart Wilson, arriving at an airport and they get into a plane.
There, we're all set.
Come on, Carl, fly the plane. This is very important. You keep your airspeed above 140.
Okay. This is so cool.
It's flying the plane.
Yeah, I see.
While flying, Frank falls asleep and they fly through a storm. Frank wakes up and tries to fly the plane, but fails and they land in the ocean. Carl and David manage to get out. Carl goes back for Frank, but he pushes him away. They then start swimming, and soon they wash up on the shore of an uncharted island.
Where are we? What is this place?
I don't know, baby. I don't know.
Carl. doing? We should have stayed with the plane.
We didn't have a choice, David. We would have drowned.
We just left him.
I tried. There was nothing I could do. David, what happened happened.
They then start exploring around the island and find what looks like an old fossil structure. It then explodes and they meet a man named Cyrus Crabbe, played by David Thewlis, who tells them that they're on the island of Dinotopia.
So how big is Dinotopia?
Not that big. A couple of 100 miles across.
200 miles. How come we've never heard about it before?
Well, we're a little bit cut off from the rest of the world.
The brothers follow Crabbe to a village, and suddenly an ankylosaurus is on the loose.
Don't panic. Can't be. It's a dinosaur. Dinosaurs died off millions of years ago.
If only, my boy, if only.
A young lady named Marion Waldo, played by Katie Carr, then shows up, walks over to the ankylosaurus, and sees that it has a bad tooth, which she removes.
Toothache.
That was amazing.
She's Dinotopian, 20th generation.
That night, David wonders how a place like that can exist without anybody knowing about it. Carl says that they have to get to Waterfall City to find some help.
Get search parties out. Call home.
Do you really think some place called Waterfall City is gonna have telephones?
What do you mean?
I think the rules here are different. And we better start learning them.
No, screw the rules. I'm not forgetting about Dad.
Nobody's forgetting about Dad. It's just that there's nothing we can do right now. Not until we understand this place.
No, I don't want to understand this place. I want to get home. Look. Right now, we sleep, okay? Then tomorrow, the city. We do whatever it takes to find someone in charge. Huh?
The next morning, the brothers meet up with Marion, who's also going to Waterfall City. They follow her to a Brachiosaurus convoy and ride it to Waterfall City. On the way, Marion tells the brothers that they have to go through the Rainy Basin, which is where carnivores live.
We only cross when it's absolutely essential, and then only in convoy. But don't worry, we carry extra food to appease them.
Appease them?
The carnivores aren't evil. They're just hungry by nature.
That evening, the dinosaurs stop inexplicably in the middle of the woods.
What's happening? Why are we stopping?
The Brax. Something's scaring them.
Where's she going?
What is it?
Tyrannosaurus.
The group walks along a trail and find giant footprints.
These droppings are fresh. And the tracks, there are hundreds of them.
Never seen anything like it. Tyrannosaurs never hunt in herds.
These ones did.
There's a small outpost at the edge of the forest. We've got to make sure they're safe. Come on.
They then arrive in what seems to be an abandoned village and find a sunstone.
What's a sunstone?
It's our source of power. It keeps the outposts and settlements safe. This one's dead.
There's a storm coming in, so Marion suggests that they should find shelter for the night. They enter the kitchen where Marion gives the brothers some fruit, and David tells her that he and Carl are half-brothers.
We have different mothers. See, my father, he led a very active social life. We were born just a few months apart, but we didn't grow up together. We just don't have anything in common, so we're not exactly best friends.
I'm sorry about your father, David.
Thank you.
Later, David's having trouble sleeping because he hears noises outside. He wakes up Carl to alert him, and all of a sudden, a herd of T-Rexes attack the place. The group flees, and the Skybecks arrive to save them. The group meets the leader, Captain Uno, played by Colin Salmon.
I think you just saved our lives.
Yes, this time you were lucky. I'm going to recommend this bus service be suspended until further notice. We cannot guarantee the safety of the passengers, and you... Stop. No one but a rider ever approaches a skydive. These are not tame birds. If you value your life, stay back. I will provide you with an airborne escort for the rest of your journey.
What happened to everybody here?
We rescued the rest of the staff earlier. We flew them out before the storms came in. But 3 people and their Triceratops patrol are still missing. As yet, we've had no sightings. I fear they are dead. Okay, let's go.
Right, come on, follow us.
The next morning, the group continues heading for Waterfall City, and Carl asks Marion what the best way to fight T-Rexes is.
We don't approve of violence in Dinotopia.
Even when it saves your life? That T-Rex almost killed us back there.
Our lives are no more precious than that of the Tyrannosaurus.
Come on, Marion. Eat or be eaten, kill or be killed. That's the law of the jungle. We're human beings, and that means we're at the top of the food chain.
We are recent guests on this planet. The dinosaurs have been here for 160 million years. Mammals like us are only recent.
I like my dog back home, but he's not getting a driver's license. Know what I'm saying?
You feel superior to them.
Well, yeah, you bet I do.
But you're not.
Carl feels superior to everything.
If dinosaurs are so smart, then how come they're doing all the manual labor?
Dinosaurs take pride in their strength.
Well, they're still carrying us around on their backs.
There's many things you can learn from a Brachiosaurus.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Like humility.
They soon arrive in Waterfall City, which happens to be the capital of Dinotopia, and it's a place where humans and dinosaurs live together.
It's a beautiful city. It's like something out of a fairy tale. Marion, your world map's a little bit off. America isn't joined to Europe.
At the beginning of the Triassic period, all the continents were joined together in one huge supercontinent called Pangaea.
Surprised you didn't know that, David.
Why are they all looking at us?
There haven't been newcomers in many years. You're celebrities.
They arrive at the palace where they meet Marion's father, Waldo Seville, the mayor of Dinotopia, played by Jim Carter.
Hello, Father.
Marion. I heard about the Tyrannosaurus attack. I've been so worried.
I'm fine. There's nothing to be frightened of. But I would like to address the Senate on what I saw.
Oh, yes. Plenty of time for that. Dinner's at 8 o'clock. 8:45 by the time the speeches have dragged on. Oh. Now, on behalf of the people of Dinotopia, I, Waldo Seville, the 207th Mayor of Waterfall City and Speaker of the Dinotopian Senate, extend to you our warmest welcome and hospitality.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor? Our plane crashed into the sea. David and I, we escaped, but our father was trapped in it.
What we need is a search party.
Don't worry, dear boys. Now, the Senate awaits you, and we will address all your concerns.
Mayor Waldo then has the brothers sign a scroll and tells them that they're going to become citizens of Dinotopia. However, they want to go home.
Our dad's still out there. There's no way we can stay here.
We understand that you both must be upset, but many Dinotopians have lost their friends and families in the shipwrecks that brought them here, but I'm afraid your past life is gone.
This must be a big shock to you, but when you understand the truly wonderful life
Marion,
we have here...
we have to get off this island.
I'm afraid that's impossible. Over the centuries, a few have tried, but they've all perished on the Razor Reef.
Well, wait a minute. How do you know no one's ever made it?
Had you ever heard of Dinotopia before you arrived?
No.
Exactly.
Marion then takes David and Carl to the library where they meet the librarian, a talking Troodon named Zippo Stenosaurus, voiced by Lee Evans.
How exciting to meet you. You know, I just love mammals.
I have to leave you now. I'm going to speak to the Senate. Goodbye.
Well, wait a minute. Where are we supposed to go? Where are we going to sleep?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you'd been told. Zippo has kindly agreed to give you temporary accommodation in his house.
Yes.
Goodbye.
You mean we're staying with a
librarian?
Right, librarian.
Yes.
Later, Zippo takes the brothers to his house as temporary lodging, and they have dinner with him.
So, do you have a human partner?
I was partner to Sylvie of the hatchery, but I've never sought another after my soulmate's death.
Wow, how'd you score a babe like that?
God.
What?
Babe. Very colorful language. It's a spiritual union I don't think you quite understand yet. No, I'll never meet another like her. Babe.
After dinner, the brothers go to their room, and David says that they should explore around the place while Carl wants to go home.
And how are we going to do that? I mean, you saw what the Razor Reef did to our plane, right?
You know, the more I listen to you, the more I think you want to stay here.
Of course I want to go home, but we don't know how to right now. So all I'm saying is we should try and make the best of it.
You really don't want to leave, do you? I can't believe it.
Think about it, Carl. Don't you see that something absolutely amazing has happened to us?
No, I think watching Dad die has kind of ruined it for me.
You know I didn't mean that. Well, I think I know what Dad would say. You know, he'd say this was a great adventure. We should be exploring and seeing things that no one's ever seen before. Maybe we should stay, just for a little while. See what life is like here.
Maybe that's because you don't have a life back home. Well, I do, and I want it back.
Carl then goes out, and Waldo gives Marion a note from her grandmother which says, "Follow the light," and shows her the light, which is a sunstone.
This was her greatest treasure. The explorer Arthur Dennison found it and gave it to her at least 100 years ago. It's almost perfect. Apart from the prime sunstone, I've never seen its equal. Oriana knew you were special, even as a baby. Marion, I would like you to lead the Sunstone Parade next week.
Oh, Father, that would be the greatest honor.
I tell you, my dear, there is nothing could make a father prouder.
The next day, Carl and David arrive at a Dinotopian school, which is filled with little kids and taught by Marion.
This term, we will be studying Saurian. At the end of the term, you will sit an examination and write your answers in footprint language. Now, who can tell me the first code of Dinotopia?
One raindrop raises the sea.
Very good. I will now read to you all the codes of Dinotopia. 1. One raindrop raises the sea. 2. Survival of all or none. 3. Weapons are enemies, even to their owners. 4. Give more, take less. 5. Others first, self last. 6. Observe, listen, and learn. 7. Do one thing. Carl, that is unnecessary destruction of public property. And that is not how Stegosauruses reproduce. 8. Sing every day.
She then takes the class to the code wall, from which the 11th code is missing, and the only 3 letters there are F-I-N, Finn.
Nobody knows what the 11th code is. Anyone like to guess what the 11th code might be?
Find a way out of here?
Did you say something, Carl?
Yeah, I have to go to the bathroom. Do I need a pass?
No, but tonight's homework will be on the codes.
Homework? Forget it.
Carl then goes to the library where he teaches Zippo how to play ping pong, which Zippo's not good at first, but he soon gets the hang of it.
Thanks.
That's it?
That's it.
How many points did I score?
None. 21-0. I win.
Well, I don't understand it. Usually I've excellent hand-to-eye coordination.
Oh, there you go.
When can we play again? I'm sure I'll be able to beat you at this game.
I can honestly say that humans will always be dinosaurs at ping pong.
Oh, let's play again.
I creamed you.
Oh, look, I don't mind. This is fun. I haven't had so much fun in a long time.
You know what, Zippo? Me neither. Big fast. Oh yeah, got ya.
Meanwhile, Marion takes David to the top of a tower where he gets a nice view of all of Waterfall City, and she shows him the most powerful sunstone which powers all of Dinotopia.
Come on, it's almost time. We can watch it from here.
So where do sunstones come from?
All we know is that they're very old. Legends say that they were mined from the world beneath at the beginning of time. They've been found all over Dinotopia, but not for many years.
That night in their room, Carl sees that David's reading a book called The Care and Teaching of Humans and tells him that he's leaving in a few days.
Yeah? And what's the plan?
I don't need a plan to know I have to get out of here. You got a week to decide whether you come with me or not. I mean, what are we doing here?
Well, Carl, I'm trying to study for graduation.
Graduation? What are you talking about, graduation? We don't belong here. We're not Dinotopians. You're getting brainwashed. Can't you see that?
Look, I don't have time to argue with you, okay?
Are you insane? There's a dinosaur sleeping in the next room.
Yes, exactly. Carl, this is the chance of a lifetime. We are the first in our generation to see anything like this.
They're screwing with your head, David. You just don't get it, do you?
Why are you so negative about everything? You know, this is always what happens with you. You're stuck, and for the first time in your life, no one's going to bail you out. Why don't you stop being so selfish and at least get to know this place before you condemn it?
I'm going, and you're coming with me.
Look, Carl, not that you bothered to ask, but I kind of like it here.
I can't believe I'm stuck here with you.
Well, it wasn't me who was flying the plane.
What do you mean? Do you blame me for what happened to you?
Let go of me! Let go of me!
If you ever say that again, I'll kill you, David. I swear I will.
Carl then goes out, visits Crab at his shop, and tells him he wants to leave the island.
I see. Well, take a seat. I was just having a bite to eat.
Everyone says it's impossible to leave.
They certainly want you to believe that it's impossible. They don't want the rest of the world knowing about their little paradise.
I don't care about their little paradise. Can I get off this island?
Oh.
So Crab agrees to help Carl if he can get him the captain's log from the library, which contains the routes of the area surrounding Dinotopia.
You mean steal it?
Carl refuses at first, but then Crab shows him that the Scalies bit off his right leg years ago because he had a disagreement with one of them.
I was exploring a sacred temple when one of the ugly buggers took a great big chunk out of my leg. That's what they do when they don't agree with you. Think about that.
Later, while everybody else in Waterfall City goes to a ceremony, Carl sneaks into the library to find the captain's log.
A young girl left the safety of the world beneath and climbed up to the surface, a sunstone illuminating her way. Higher and higher she climbed in the darkness, not knowing that this was night.
Carl then comes out and watches the ceremony.
Centuries passed, and a great civilization evolved, but no one had ever seen the sun. Then the dawn came, and she saw that the skies had cleared, and that the sun shone once again. Our ancestors followed her from the world beneath, and they brought with them the magical stones, and they built Dinotopia. The world beneath was sealed. The great ruler Ogthar decreed that it should remain a sacred place, undisturbed forevermore.
The next day, Carl talks to Marion, and she encourages him to finish his studies.
Is that why I got an invitation? Look, I can't do school. Never had. Why should I start now?
Because you're not the person you want to be.
Oh, and you are. You know it all, do you?
If you can't bear school, I'll spend an hour a day teaching you personally.
Really? Okay, deal.
And in return, you'll sit for your footprint exam.
Later, while David's in class taking an exam, Carl returns to the library where Zippo tells him that a book has been stolen.
Really? Well, maybe it just got lost somewhere.
Every inch of the library's been searched. I've been through antiques, antiquities, a dozen times. I mean, who can do such a thing?
Look, Zippo, books get stolen from libraries all the time.
Not in Dinotopia. It's inconceivable to steal knowledge that should be for all. It has to be here somewhere.
Then, after arriving late for the exam and scrambling to finish it, Carl visits Crab at his shop, who examines the book.
This captain's journal charts the course of the two ships I told you about. A little bit of patience. I'll find the wreck of the one that didn't make it through.
Yeah, but I thought we were trying to find a way out.
Of course we are.
He then says that he needs an extra something that wasn't a part of their deal, but Carl refuses. So Crab takes Carl outside and shows him that David has gotten himself involved with the Dinotopian culture. Later, the test results are announced, and Carl gets a higher score than David, which makes him jealous and believes that Carl cheated. David then confronts Carl about his cheating and then starts talking about their dad.
Is that it?
Hey, leave Dad out of it.
I'd be glad to. And let's face it, he pretty much left us out of his life.
Don't talk about him like that.
At least you two had something in common. He didn't have the time of day for me.
Wonder why that was.
Well, he dumped my mother, then he did the same to yours, but you still worship him.
Don't talk like that.
You know what? Without Dad around, I feel free. Kinda makes you think, doesn't it? I'm almost glad he's gone.
They then start fighting, push each other off a balcony, and they fall into the depths of the waterfall underneath. Marion begs her dad to let her go after them, but he refuses.
Now, don't forget that tomorrow you travel to Vidarbha. You're due to start your habitat training.
Father, I really do feel that I shouldn't...
Marion?
Soon she goes and Zippo tags along. They start by taking a messenger bird, voiced by the late Monty Python member Terry Jones, and have it fly high to find David and Carl.
So what do we do now?
Wait.
Later that night, Carl has been carrying a practically unconscious David through the jungle. He then sets David down to rest and finds a plank bridge.
Hello?
That night, David starts regaining consciousness and has a conversation with Carl, but then goes unconscious again. Carl then returns to the plank bridge to get a drink of water, and then the messenger bird shows up.
Are you Carl or David?
Carl, that's me.
End of message. Postage has been prepaid. Thank you.
Carl then returns with some wood for the fire, and Marion and Zippo soon find him. She then checks on David, who regains full consciousness, and Zippo sends the messenger bird to the mainland to get a search party.
Don't stop for anyone or anything. Now go. Go. They're usually quite reliable.
Later, Carl and Zippo explore the temple and find some carvings.
I do believe you have confirmed my research. This must lead to one of the entrances to the world beneath, but...
What, Zippo?
The legend has it that all the entrances are guarded by carnivores. Oh dear. If this is an entrance, the carnivores will think we are violating their sacred space.
Well, don't worry. I haven't seen any carnivores lately.
Suddenly, Carl sees some carnivores, and Marion tells him to take David and leave. Marion and Zippo then cross the bridge while the Mosasaurs continue to attack. Marion makes it across, but Zippo ends up in the water. Luckily, Carl manages to pull him out.
He was eating me! I hope you choke on it!
The next day, while trying to find their way back, they get lost, so Marion climbs up a tree and sees the rescue party, which sees her.
They found us. Can you take us to Vidarbha? Our friend is hurt.
We can escort you to the ridge, and you will find the road to Vidarbha from there.
They're taken to the town where they meet Marion's mother, Rosemary, played by Alice Creed, who checks on David.
David's very sick. How have you managed to cause so much trouble in such a short time?
It's a skill, honed over a lifetime.
It's time you honed some other skills.
Come on, David.
Later, Marion and Rosemary do some catching up, and Marion shows Rosemary the sunstone her father gave her.
It may protect you one day. The carnivores are straying from their traditional territory. 5 of our brachiosaur herd were killed last month. The hatchery is full of orphans.
I tried talking to the Senate, but nobody would listen.
Hardly surprising when you know who's in charge.
5 years is a very long time to refuse to speak to father.
Marion, I have never refused your father a conversation.
And it's not very Dinotopian.
My husband likes his robes and his banquets much too much. He should live closer to the earth. You are very different from him. You have the gift of understanding.
I don't want to be treated differently from anyone else.
Nevertheless, my dearest daughter, you are different. Welcome home.
Rosemary then goes out looking for Carl, who's playing ping pong with Zippo.
Match point.
Match point? Yes, right. Take that.
Nice tail shot, Zip.
That's a lot of fetching the ball.
I win. Nice try, Zippo. We only got 3 points.
3 points? Well, I'm improving.
Well, if you want to win, you're gonna have to learn how to smash.
I haven't got a smash.
That's right. Like this.
Oh, well, I will learn how to smash.
Rosemary then comes in and reminds him of his duties back in Waterfall City.
But I'm studying mammals in their natural environment for my thesis.
You're writing a thesis on me?
Yes, reasoning, feeding, and breeding.
You're studying me? I'm not gonna be your guinea pig.
Unless I'm mistaken, guinea pigs are furry rodents.
Enough of this. Carl, you're not on vacation. You're expected to work with the other students during the day.
Look, no disrespect, Rosemary, but I'm not a Dinotopian, and I don't want to become one, okay?
Do you intend to eat our food?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Then you'll help us make it. Starting now. And please address me as matriarch in the future.
After a week, David wakes up, Zippo gives him some tea and tells him that Carl and Marion are good friends now.
Friends? What do you mean friends? Carl doesn't have any female friends.
Well, they barely stray from each other's company. What is it?
I think I'm going to use my convalescence to study the Brachiosaurus.
David then watches Carl and Marion from the window.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Goliath.
Goliath who?
Goliath down. You look tired.
Is Goliath a real name?
He was a giant, a bully. But a boy killed him with a slingshot, saved the whole town. Everybody knows the story of Carl and Goliath.
Tell me another one.
Rosemary then shows up and talks to him.
You've made a miraculous recovery.
Rosemary.
My daughter says you're a brilliant student. She says you've a gift for Saurian languages.
Well, I'm glad she thinks so. You know, she's a great teacher. She even got Carl through school.
Why does that surprise you?
Well, you know, Carl is not exactly a model student. He's rebellious. I think he's carrying around a lot of anger.
Yes. Almost as much as you. David, you're wonderfully clever, but you seem unhappy. Are you always going to stand outside life? Watch it go by?
I don't think there's anything wrong with being a loner.
No? Not if you really want to be alone.
Later that night, Carl takes Marion swimming. The next morning, Rosemary confronts him about this.
Would you like to tell me what happened last night? I'd appreciate your complete honesty.
Look, Rosemary, I'm sorry if we broke your rules. We were just having a little bit of fun. You know, being spontaneous.
Watch how you speak to me.
We went for a swim.
Carl has a little problem with authority. He's been kicked out of 11 schools.
David, I wasn't speaking to you. Why aren't you nesting properly?
Nesting? Because I don't belong here. And I don't think I ever will. Is that clear enough for you?
I think tonight's ceremony may change your mind about staying here.
I doubt it.
I'm sure of it.
Later, during a hearing, Zippo tells everybody that he's found one of the entrances to the world beneath.
The ancient temple of Karo. Dangerous though it is, I believe an expedition should be made to further explore it.
Almasaur rightly reminds us that we must never under any circumstances violate the sacred world beneath.
Yes. Traditional views must be respected, but this is a terribly important discovery, and if you would just look at my research...
It is forbidden. How can we ask to be left in peace and then trespass on the territory of others? These places belong to the carnivores. We must respect their territories. Now, more than ever.
Yes, but perhaps there are sunstones to be found in the world beneath.
By your own admission, you only just escaped with your lives. No expedition will be sanctioned under any circumstances. This session of the Senate is closed.
Meanwhile, at a ceremony, Carl tries to leave because of the dinosaurs outside pounding the ground, but then he succumbs and falls. Later, after graduation, Carl's assigned to the hatchery, David's assigned to train in the Skybax Corps, and Marian's not assigned to a habitat, which she's not happy with, and asks Rosemary why.
You're not of the sea. You're not of the earth, or the sky. You're special. You're of everything.
But what if I don't want to be special?
I want you to go to Canyon City with David. It has the largest pteranodon swarms on Dinotopia, and they're becoming increasingly aggressive. I want you to study them.
You're just giving me something to do.
Oh, what I'm asking you to do is very dangerous, and I don't ask it lightly. Marion, the lights are going out all over Dinotopia.
But what does that have to do with the pteranodons? Or with me?
Lend your mind to the problem. Single raindrop raises the sea. Oh, and look after David. He's part of the solution.
Soon enough, David and Marion head for Canyon City, where David will train.
Baron, I don't know who your mom is trying to kid. Carl should be the one going to Canyon City, not me.
Why do you say that?
Carl would know how to ride an overlander.
I think my mother knows what she's doing, David. There's more to you than meets the eye. She knew that the moment she met you. And so did I.
They soon arrive and meet Cadet Romana Dennison, played by Hannah Yellen, who takes David to his quarters.
This will be your station. I'm next door if you need anything. From now on, you must wear your uniform at all times. Your first class will begin at dawn tomorrow. You must not be late.
Meanwhile, Carl arrives at the hatchery where he meets Marion's younger sister, Samantha, played by Anna Maguire, who takes him to the incubator room.
Warmer temperatures change developing embryos to males, and cooler to females. You can normally tell when they're ready, because before hatching, the eggs squeak. Have a listen.
They squeak?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Let's see your ticket.
She then gives him an egg with the number 26 on it, and he's not happy that he's in charge of it. In Canyon City, Captain Uno starts training the cadets.
I am Uno, squadron leader of the Skybax Corps, and I will be your instructor. There are approximately 4,200 Dinotopians working in Canyon City, and only 12 Skybax riders each year are selected. Step forward. The statues you see before you are called the Sentinels. They divide the canyon. The air above them belongs to the Skybax, the space below to the Pteranodons. Since the two species split long ago, all attempts to communicate with the Pteranodons have failed. You cannot ride a Skybax if you have fear in your heart. They will sense that fear and they will not approach. In a moment, third-year cadets will begin their morning flight.
Meanwhile, Carl visits Rosemary and tells her that he didn't sign up to look after an infant dinosaur, so this is what she responds with.
Carl, what did you feel when you communed with the Brachiosaurus?
I don't know. I guess I felt something. It's really hard to explain.
You felt part of something more than yourself.
Okay, maybe, but
You felt part of our world. It's all I have to teach you, Carl. But it's the most important thing you'll ever learn.
In Canyon City, David tells Uno that he's apprehensive about this, but he just walks off. Uno then takes the cadets to a Skyback simulation machine and has David get on it.
You will naturally want to hold on to the harness. But before you can fly a real Skybax, you will have also learned to ride without holding on. Are you comfortable, cadet?
Mm-hmm.
Falling off here is amusing. Falling off in the canyon is not. Again, cadet.
After David fails to hang on a bunch of times, he soon manages to stay on. Meanwhile, Marion watches some pteranodons from a ledge and then sees an albino skybax being harassed by some. Later, while talking to David about this, they see that the sunstones are failing.
The sunstones are failing here, aren't they? What happens when they all die?
I don't know.
The next day, Waldo tells everybody not to panic, but then Crab shows everybody a bag of defunct sunstones.
The sunstones are failing, and your mare stands there beneath the prow of a wrecked ship, leading you into yet another disaster.
That is scaremongering, and we will not tolerate it. I can announce today that by the end of the month there will be 12 new sunstone restorers. Now, the life of a failing sunstone can be dramatically improved with skilled attention.
What about the sunstone reserves?
Absolutely right.
Yes. You must mean as the wrecks are chewing their way through your throne. We want the truth. How many sunstones are left in the city vaults? They're all gone. I petitioned the Senate to grant me access to documentation of the world beneath in the ancient library of Dinotopia. We must prepare an expedition.
Sit down, Mr. Crowley. In the interest of democracy, we must allow others to speak.
After that, Crab talks to Zippo about the problem.
I heard your lecture in the Senate the other day. It was a rather brilliant presentation.
It was hardly a lecture.
See, I've recently come into possession of an ancient scroll, and being a somewhat uneducated fellow, I can't really make it out in detail, but I believe it relates to the world beneath.
The world beneath? Really?
I'd welcome your expertise, sir. I'm sure a scholar of your standing would have no trouble identifying the text. I mean, if it's not too much of an imposition.
Oh, no, not at all. It would be a pleasure.
If you're sure you don't mind, my shop's just up here.
Zippo follows Crab to his shop where he finds many items that he stole a while ago, but as he's about to go report it, Crab knocks him out, ties him in a bag, and puts him in the river.
Harmony's overrated.
At the hatchery, the postal bird arrives with a message for Carl.
Greetings from Marion at Canyon City. I miss seeing your face. David seems permanently terrified, but I'm trying to keep his spirits up. You're in my thoughts many times a day. End of message.
Oh, wait, can I send a reply back?
More than 20 words incurs a surcharge.
Later, the egg hatches.
What are you going to name her?
Name her? I'm not gonna name her anything. I can't take responsibility for her. Oh. What does she want?
She thinks you're her mommy.
She wants you to feed her.
Oh, you've got to be kidding. Oh, no.
Meanwhile, David now needs to jump over a ledge to get to the next part of his training, but he says he can't do it.
Make the jump, cadet.
I can't do it!
Make the jump.
Come on, David.
I can't!
See me tonight after training.
After that, Marion tries to calm down the Skyback.
Easy now.
David sees Uno, who shows him some saddles.
This saddle belonged to my grandfather, Ulu, who taught the great Will Dennison, the finest Skyback's rider ever. Romana is his daughter and has many of his skills.
I don't see why anyone thinks I could ride a Skyback's. I have a terrible fear of heights. And I don't see how anyone who hasn't experienced that can really understand.
You're not frightened of heights, David. You're frightened of something else. Come forward. Do you know whose this is?
No.
This belonged to Gideon Altair, who formed the Corps. The first man to ever ride a wild Skyback's.
Great.
He was 2 years younger than you when he did it, Cadet. Of all the things you do in your life, David, nothing will ever compare to the sensation of flying a Skyback's for the first time.
No, I can't do it, sir. I've been wrongly assigned. Trust me, I know.
Outside, Marion gets attacked by a pteranodon, but then sends it away by shining her sunstone at it.
Marion, are you all right?
I'm fine.
Come on. Gotta get you out of here. Come on.
Uno then bans Marion from returning.
Is that understood?
Sir.
At the hatchery, Carl's told that the infant dinosaur is an orphan, and Samantha and Rosemary explain how that happened.
Last month, the village of Thamala was destroyed by the Tyrannosaurus herd that attacked you. Her mother was giving birth when it happened. She was trampled to death.
It's very rare for a dinosaur to lay so many eggs. 26 in all.
All the eggs were smashed, but this one,
The Skybax rider brought her here.
So, have you decided on a name yet?
I told you I'm not going to give her a name, because I'm not keeping her.
But you have to name her.
All right, okay. 26. That's what I'm going to call her. Happy?
Carl then steps outside, finds a broken down boat, and gets the materials to fix it since he's still wanting to leave the island. Suddenly, Crab shows up and tells Carl that he was kicked out of Waterfall City.
Still, they know best about everything, don't they?
Yeah, they always seem to know best.
He then tells Carl that if he tries to pass the reef, he'll get cut in half and that he needs a pirate chart.
Now the gap, the reef, with this chart, at low tide, you can sail straight through.
Well, can you get it for me?
I will if I can. I will for you, Carl. You can rely on me.
Meanwhile, David's still honing his skills on the mechanism, and Marion watches him without being seen.
Slide with it. Stay with it. That's it. And control it. That's it, David. You've got it. That was great, David.
Thanks.
You've done it.
But later, Uno awards all the cadets with a saddle except for David.
So,
You have made great progress. But you are still bound to the Earth.
you're gonna fail me? I've done everything you asked me to, and I'm just as good as any of the other cadets. What more do you want me to do?
Uno tells David to spend a night with the Skybacks in their nest, and then he'll get a saddle.
Is this a joke? That's impossible. You know I can't do that.
Cadet David, you are dismissed.
In his room, David's visited by Marion, who heard about what happened and says she'll climb with him.
Unless you would rather climb with one of your fellow cadets, such as Romana Dennison.
Well, I like Romana very much,
I thought so.
but I don't want to climb with Romana.
We better get ready for the climb then. Are you coming?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Crab returns to Carl and says that he'll get him the chart if he gets him the sunstone from the hatchery roof.
No way. Stealing the book is one thing, but I'm not taking their sunstone.
Oh, very noble choice. What's more important, your life or one of their silly little sunstones? They've got vaults full of them in Waterfall City. I've seen them with my own eyes.
I don't know, Cyrus.
What have the Scalies ever done for you, eh? I'll tell you, nothing. Big fat nothing.
I can't. It's a hatchery. Anyway, if this chart is so great, why are you still here?
Oh, I'm going. Don't worry about that. When I've got enough treasure to make me king of the world, I'm going.
I'll take my chances without this chart.
Well, you do that. You do that and you're dead as daddy, you understand? Is that what you want?
No.
Or do you want to go home?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go home. I want to go home.
On the mountain, David and Marion climb it. While doing so, Marion slips, but luckily David saves her.
Are you sure you're okay?
Yes, a little scared, but
They soon make it to a nest. At the hatchery, 26 plays with some blocks on the floor and Carl wakes up.
26, did you do this? You know the rules. I told you to stay in your crib, okay? Now you stay in here and sleep. That's it.
In the nest on the mountain, David and Marion have a talk, and David tells Marion that he's in love with her.
I don't know how else to say it.
in love.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize for the way that you feel. I'm very flattered.
Flattered. So there's no chance you have any kind of feelings for me?
When I saw you with Romana, I felt something. I don't know how to describe it.
You did?
Well, there are certain things my training doesn't seem to have prepared me for.
The messenger bird then shows up with a message from Carl.
I don't believe it. This can't be happening. How can we be here, alone, on top of the world, and my brother is sending you singograms? That is so typical.
He sends me messages all the time.
He does?
Well, I think he might be lonely.
Carl, lonely.
Any reply?
Yes, there is a reply. Nice to hear from you, Carl. We're fine, never better.
Oh, and don't forget David's graduation ceremony. Yours, Marion.
And David.
Meanwhile, Carl steals the sunstone from the hatchery roof while Crab makes a hole in the boat.
Sorry, Carl. Can't have you leaving the island just yet.
That night, David and Marion are approached by the albino pteranodon, and Marion tells David to find his name inside himself.
His name is Freefall.
Outside the hatchery, Crab gives Carl the map, and Carl gives Crab the sunstone.
I wish you all the luck Silas Crab has at his disposal. Thanks, Sars. Chin up. Sure you'll make it. Gonna miss you, Carl.
Carl then starts to leave in the boat while Crab sees that the sunstone is actually a dead stone.
You crook. You filthy, lousy cheat. I like you. Have a nice trip, sonny.
Carl manages to throw the real sunstone back onto the roof of the hatchery. 26 comes out and sees Carl leaving. The boat starts to sink and 26 calls to Carl.
Go away!
26 jumps into the water. Carl, knowing that 26 can't swim yet, leaves the sinking boat and goes after her. Later, after the graduation ceremony, David tries to call Skybacks, but none of them come.
You have been rejected, Cadet. Calm down.
Afterwards, David packs up to leave, and Carl says that he's proud of his process.
Just leave me alone, okay?
You tried. You didn't quit. I wish Dad could have seen you.
He didn't need to see me fail again.
You didn't fail. Wait, Dave. Dave.
Leave him.
David's determined to try again, so he goes back, and this time the Skybacks he named Freefall comes. David gets onto his back and flies off, while Carl, Marion, Uno, and the squadron watch him. Later, Uno and the squadron enter the court hall, and Uno tells Mayor Waldo that Waterfall City is being threatened by a Pteranodon incursion because of the Sunstone's failures.
I request permission to reassign the Corps to protect the refugees along the eastern approach to Waterfall City.
You are not the only province to be experiencing difficulties.
We must evacuate everyone in the outer settlements and bring them here to Waterfall City for protection, sir.
We cannot support the whole of Dinotopia. Here, on this island city, we simply don't have the resources.
Last week, my new students graduated. I have been pushing them harder than ever before. I am not training them to seek peace. I am training them to fight, and I fear I am training them to die.
He's right. We must make an expedition to the world beneath to find new sunstones.
Sit down.
Yes, but Mayor,
You have spoken already. We must protect our traditions and follow the ancient codes. Just as we live by the codes of Dinotopia, so must we prepare to die.
And die we will.
As Mayor Waldo leaves, he sees a giant group of refugees from the close city of Dinotopia.
look at those poor souls. I could just grab those senators by their robes and shake them. Somebody has to do something.
It's called anger, Zippo. You're making progress.
Later at Zippo's place, Carl sees a scroll that has a picture of the temple in the swamp.
We must go back there. If this leads to the world beneath, that's where the sunstones will be, I'm sure of it.
But that's also where we'll find those prehistoric crocodiles.
Yes, and my tail is only just growing back, you know.
But it's the only entrance, Zippo.
Well, suppose it's blocked or flooded. And maybe it's not even an entrance. I mean, we're just guessing.
That horrible Cyrus Crab had a scroll describing another entrance beneath the sea called the Diamond Cave. I would go to the library and research it.
We haven't got time for any more research. I mean, what are we going to do? Just stand around and wait for the carnivores to come crashing through the city gates?
Marion's right. We gotta do something.
So Carl, David, and Marion go back to the temple, which is the entrance to the world beneath, and Zippo offers to watch 26.
There it is. Finally.
Well, that took long enough.
What? I was just making sure she's okay.
As they start their journey, Crab stops them and tells them to turn around and go back.
You'll never find the entrance.
I'm done taking advice from you.
Yes, well, I paid 3 expeditions to explore that swamp temple. You know what? Not one of them came back for their money.
We're not afraid.
Yeah, that's right.
There is another way, Carl. It's a safer way. In a few days, my plans will be sorted if you want to come with me.
No way, Cyrus. Forget it.
Don't be a fool, boy. I'm trapped on this island, same as you, whether I like it here or not.
You sabotaged my boat.
Yes, and you give me a rock instead of a sunstone, so let's call it evens, all right?
What's he talking about?
Nothing.
Understand, I want the same thing that you want. I want to save this hell of a place, not because I like it, because I want to save my own skin.
Forget it.
Crab then gives Carl a flare gun and says that there's lots more to be concerned about mosasaurs.
Don't listen to him.
Come on, he's just trying to scare us.
They travel through the jungle and Marion asks Carl about the theft of the hatchery's sunstone, to which he admits that he did it and mentions that he knows about her spending a night with David in that nest.
And what exactly did you hear?
They spent the night with my brother in one of those nests.
So?
So what happened up there between you two?
We got very close. That's what happened. Because unlike you, he's a sensitive soul.
They arrive at the entrance and make it to the fountain. Carl then gets into his bag, takes out the flare gun, and shoots it into the area overhead. However, it causes a flock of pteranodons to be disturbed, and the group runs out of the temple. They make their way through the jungle where they encounter Uno, who arrests David and Carl.
You'll be escorted by guard, face trial at Waterfall City.
I can't believe this. We must contact my father immediately.
Your father issued the order, Marion.
Why are we being arrested? On what charge?
It's not a single charge. You seem to have broken just about every law in Dinotopia.
At the hearing, Mayor Waldo mentions 21 law violations. Suddenly, Zippo comes in to defend them and shows his tail as evidence.
Would you like to tell us why you were put in jeopardy in the first place?
Yes, well, because the boys had fallen over the falls while fighting at the graduation ceremony.
A disgraceful breach of civilized behavior?
Yes, well, I would have to agree with you there, Your Honor.
He is on our side, isn't he?
Uno and Rosemary then testify in favor of Carl and David.
They're not like us, and perhaps they never will be. But how can we call ourselves Dinotopian if we only respect those who agree with us? If we are to learn, first we must listen. In spite of our differences, I have come to respect the boys tremendously. One raindrop raises the sea.
Exactly, Your Honor. So think of what 2 raindrops could do.
David, we're doomed.
Later, while eating, Marion tries to get her father to free Carl and David, but he says it's for the greater good. During this talk, the lights go out because the sunstones are failing.
You see? It's happened again.
Again? Waldo, why didn't you tell me that this had happened before?
It is just a temporary situation. The polishers will be at work even as we speak. It usually lasts only a few seconds.
That's the prime sunstone. If it fails, then...
Yes, we are due to discuss the situation.
Discuss? We're sitting in darkness. Something has to be done.
A Dinotopian mind is a calm mind, Marion. There, you see? Back to normal. Nothing at all to worry about.
At another session, Mayor Waldo allows Carl and David to say some last thoughts. Carl volunteers and candidly talks about how nobody has listened in Dinotopia and tells him to now listen.
I don't care about your rules and superstitions. So you can do what you want with me, but you should let my brother go. You're gonna need every Skybacks cadet in the Corps. This whole place is going to hell unless you do something about it, and you know it.
dear.
You didn't have to do that.
Yes, I did. Don't make a big thing out of it.
Once the judgment is rendered, Mayor Waldo tells Carl and David that they will not leave Waterfall City and will continue their studies.
Carl, you are deemed unfit to care for an infant, and your Chasmosaur partner will be taken to the city orphanage for adoption.
No. No way.
Carl, sit down. Don't make it any worse.
We are all in accord on this matter.
We would like to lodge an appeal.
We will review the case in 1 year's time.
Oh, 1 year?
Court dismissed.
Later, Crab visits Zippo at his house and makes the group an offer.
I know the way to the Sunstone Caves and the way out of Dinotopia. But I can't do it alone. Not with this. I need your help, boys.
I don't trust him.
What's not to trust?
Crab then mixes the substance of a rare plant with some water and has Marion give it to the guards. So Marion does what she's told, and the stuff makes the guards fall asleep. The group then heads to the library to find Arthur Dennison's book, which contains a map to the world beneath.
Well, if it's here, it'll be in this cabinet.
I thought you said the fire destroyed all the books and scrolls in the world beneath.
It's true. The main library was badly burnt, but not all the books were destroyed. After the fire, it was decided to restore the more valuable documents and place them in this archive for safekeeping.
After looking for the book all night, David finds it in a secret compartment.
Hey guys, I think this is it. The Journal of Arthur Dennison, Victorian Engineer and Explorer, Volume 2, The World Beneath.
Suddenly, Mayor Waldo and the city guards enter and chase after the group, but they manage to escape in a boat that Crab left for them.
Oh, maybe one of my ancestors was a sailor after all.
Well, Cyrus really came through for us this time.
Well, don't thank him yet.
Yes, well, personally, I'm not quite sure about him yet. We're heading for the cargo chute, but it's not designed for saurians, or humans, for that matter.
What do you mean, Zippo?
They then float along a roller coaster-like ride under the tunnels of the city.
Oh, I think that's it now.
Later, they find a ship that has a crab symbol on it and check it out.
What is it? Oh, mosasaurs. Who could do such a thing?
They soon find Crab and he takes them to a submersible.
Dennison's submersible.
There is no way I'm going down there, Matt.
Oh, it doesn't look in too bad a shape.
Careful, Carl. Oh, dear.
Maybe not.
Well, there you go. You can be our chief mechanic. And you can be a navigator.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What about me? What can I do?
Professor, I haven't forgotten you. Those keen eyes of yours, sharper than a human's, eh?
Oh, well, that's very true. Thank you.
Would you be so kind as to keep lookout for us?
What, out there?
Yes, out there. Go on, run along.
By myself?
It's okay, Zippo.
They managed to get it to work by using Marion's Sunstone necklace to power it. Once it's powered up, Crab says that the sub can only take down 3 people. So he has Marion and Zippo stay.
The submarine is built for 4.
I'm not one to tempt our good fortune, not when the future of Dinotopia hangs in the balance. We'll be heavy enough with them sunstones on board. Come on.
He's right, Marion.
Promise me you'll both be careful. I don't want anything to happen to either of you. I love you both.
We'll be all right.
Okay, let's go.
Meanwhile, Romana tells Mayor Waldo that 100,000 pteranodons are on their way to the city and she needs to warn the other cities.
Yes, yes, of course. Dismissed. Breathe deep.
Fly high.
While journeying underwater, David and Carl find their plane in a wreck and there's no sign of their father.
Can't be.
They then arrive at the entrance to the world beneath, which is guarded by a huge eel called Dungliostuus in the surface. They soon find some carvings that tell the history of the dinosaurs and how Dinotopia came to be.
This is one of those theories, right? The dinosaurs were wiped out by a meteor.
And the meteor caused a tidal wave.
Looks like the end of the world.
Well, that must be the Sunstone Cave. It became like some kind of ark. It saved them.
Scaly history. Come on. We're near. Very near.
They then find some sunstones on the ground. Crab then finds the opening, which the 3 of them crawl into and find themselves in a sunstone cave, which happens to be the meteor that hit Earth millions of years ago.
This is it. This is everything.
It's unreal, isn't it? It looks like something from another planet.
Of course. You're right. Well, the temple pictures make sense now. The dinosaurs didn't find the Sunstone Cave. The meteor that hit the Earth? That is the Sunstone Cave.
Come on, boys. Let's get all these loaded. Time's running out for our friends upstairs.
They then gather a bunch of sunstones, and once they have enough, they head back to the sub and start loading the sunstones into it. David and Carl then tell Crab that they should make a second trip since they're worried about the weight. However, Crab doesn't think that it will be able to make another trip.
What do you mean?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't want to risk losing our precious cargo, so something will have to go. But I don't think it'll be the Sunstones.
You can't be serious.
I'd like to thank you, gentlemen, for all your hard work, but if you'll excuse me, I'll be taking my leave.
Cyrus, you're not leaving us down here.
Suddenly, David and Carl's father shows up, and it turns out that he survived.
Dad? Dad?
Well, well, well. All this time alone in a cave and still alive, eh? Well, it's time to say goodbye.
Crab shoots Carl in the knee. David walks over to him, and Crab takes out another gun, and they allow Crab to leave alone.
Good idea.
Hope you enjoy your family reunion. Cheerio.
Frank wraps Carl's wound up and is glad that his sons are still alive and well.
Ow! Sorry to hurt you. Okay? I can't believe it. Seeing you both again is like magic. I heard your voices. I thought, this is it. I've gotten weak. I'm beginning to hallucinate. This is the end.
Well, you kind of surprised us too, Dad. I mean, we thought...
God, I missed you. I missed you too. Both of you.
Now they need to find a way out, which David thinks the only way was the sub, but luckily Carl removed Marion's sunstone from it and the sub's engines start to sputter. Crab then tries fitting various sunstones into the slot, but none of them fit. He then knocks over a gun, and a bullet ricochets around and cracks the front glass, causing water to come in. He, along with the sub, then get eaten by the giant eel.
That's it then. No more Cyrus.
And no more boat.
There must be another way out of here.
Meanwhile, the giant flock of pteranodons arrives and attacks Waterfall City. Frank and the boys look for another way out, and soon they arrive at an entry point which happens to lead to the temple gateway. But Frank's hesitant about going back in the water because of the plane crash, so David talks to him.
You spent all that time alone in the dark, thinking you'd never see or hear another human being again. That would break most men. Not you. You survived and you held on, and I think you're the bravest man I've ever known. Now, this is nothing compared to what you went through. And this time, we can get through it together. All right?
on the count of 3, they all jump in and start swimming towards the surface. David uses the sunstone he got from the cave to light the way. They soon make it to the surface and journey through the temple.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Dad, don't put your foot in the water.
Why not?
You don't want to know.
What is that?
It's all right, Dad. It's free fall.
What?
Stay here.
David gets on Free Fall's back and heads to Waterfall City for help. David takes the sunstone out, but the Pteranodon knocks it out of his hands and it falls to the ground where Marion finds it. She and Zippo go to put it in place, but then a Pteranodon crashes through the window and Marion's knocked out. Zippo then enters, puts it into the center stand of the temple, and its light sends the Pteranodons away. Later at a ceremony, David receives a medal as an award for his valor and courage.
Well done, David.
David then asks for a search party to find Frank and Carl, and then they soon arrive.
3-6. Did you miss me? Did you miss me? Marion, I'd like you to meet my father, Frank Scott.
Very nice to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you too, Marion. You have to forgive me, I'm a little overwhelmed by everything that's been happening to me.
You must be Frank Scott. I've heard so much about you.
Is he safe?
It's okay, Dad. He's not going to bite you.
I'm sorry. My name is Zippo Stanosaurus. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you, sir.
Oh, it's very nice to meet you too, Mr. Stenosaurus.
Oh, Zippo, please.
Mayor Waldo with Rosemary meets Frank and has approval for Carl and David.
We all owe a huge debt of gratitude to these fine young men. David Scott, you ride the Skybacks with the same courage and grace as the great Gideon Altair. You, Carl Scott, will be reinstated as the Chasmosaur's legal guardian. Never again must we rest on our laurels as we sacrifice progress to tradition. You have brought a new vision to Dinotopia.
Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Carl then shows everybody that he brought a whole wagon full of sunstones from the cave.
beneath is open again. We found the light.
And that was Dinotopia. My thoughts? I really liked it. After the miniseries aired, it would go on to win an Emmy Award for Outstanding Visual Effects for a miniseries, movie, or special. It was then followed by a TV series which only lasted for 13 episodes. In the end, I give this miniseries a rating of 4 stars out of 5. Well, that's it for Dinotopia. Be sure to join me next week when I'll be reviewing the television Disney movie starring the actor who played Brad Taylor from Home Improvement. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell your friends about me, leave some questions in the comments below, subscribe, and hit that like button.
Ooh.